Okay, welcome to the studio. This is Tony Morgan, and I want to do this morning is show you a little bit of behind the scenes of doing some product photography. I just recently purchased a light table from Adorama, and it's a Flashpoint light table, and I'm going to be using my Flashpoint monolights along with my Nikon D3300 rather camera to be shooting. And we're going to be shooting with a 50mm lens, and I'm going to be showing you different styles of different ways to shoot and light the products that we're going to be using. A couple things that I'm going to be doing here is there's a monolight there that I'm going to be using. It has a beauty dish on it along with a sock, and can't see underneath the table, but I have another light that I'm using underneath the table to shine through, to light up, give it a little bit of backlight, and then you can adjust the setting on that if you want to, depending on the exposure that you're looking for. So this is just to show you the setup that we're going to be using, and we'll come back in just a minute. We're going to show you a couple of products that we're going to get out and start testing, and show you some results before and after. So we'll be right back after this. Okay, so I'm back, and the first thing that we're going to be shooting is my Canon 7D. I've already did a light meter reading with it, and I've got shooting at full manual controls. This again my Nikon D3300. I'm going to be shooting at 1/25th of a second at f11 ISO 100. So we're going to do a couple of shots and see what we get, and we'll show you the results afterwards. And what I'm going to do is shoot from different angles just so I can get different shots. And the lens that I'm using is the 50mm. Try one more shot. Okay, so we've got that. Now the next thing that I want to do is just to turn on my light that I have underneath the light box or the light table, just to show you, give you that extra lighting to light up from the bottom. So let's do that real quick and we'll be right back. Okay, now you can see that I have the light from underneath, and it's giving a little bit more light from underneath the table to give us a totally different look. So let's do a couple of shots with that and see what we come up with. Now the effect I got on this particular shot was a little cool because it almost gave it like a fog type effect, and I'm going to show you the image in a little bit. But what that means is that we have a little bit of overexposure for the background light as opposed to the light that's coming from what we're using with the monolight and the beauty dish. So sometimes what you have to do is just adjust the exposure to get what you're looking for. So let's just try one more shot though. Get down a little bit lower. Hopefully you can't see my bag in the shot. Ha! See how that looks? Okay, looks good. So we'll try a couple other things, and I'm going to adjust the exposure on it and be right back. Excuse me. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to adjust my camera settings. I'm not going to go at 32, but I'm going to adjust it to f16, and then we'll see the results that we get from that. Still has that glow behind it, which is really nice. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to add a couple more pieces into the shot, just to give you an overall look of adding additional products into the set itself. So I'm going to add my trusty 70-200 Canon lens that everybody loves to use and shoot with. It's a great portrait lens. So we're going to add that into the shot, and we'll come right back. The other thing that I want to mention is that positioning of your products on the light table makes a huge difference also, as far as seeing what you want to see and getting the right look for the product itself. So I've just sort of positioned the camera and the lens together on the table. And the other thing that I want to mention is that I'm using the matte side of the light table. The plexiglass has two different sides. One is a matte side and one is a glossy. So this matte side that I'm using, it works really well for when you're shooting different things and you don't want to get a reflection. So that makes it work a lot better. And one other thing that I'm going to do right after this shot, I'm going to throw in a gel and give you a different look with the background, just to show you the difference of using different colored gels and how that's going to look. So let's get a couple of shots of this, and then we'll switch it up and add a gel to the shot. Get one more. This one is a particular overhead shot. Good. And let's see, one more different angle. And actually what I'm going to do is incorporate this particular shot with the light that's underneath, just so you can see it. I'm going to manual so that I can adjust the focus. There we go, right there. Good. There we go. And now we're going to add a gel, and we'll see what looks we get after that. Now, as you can see, what I did with this particular shot, what I'm doing with this particular shot is I did turn off my modeling or studio light that I'm using for video, but I included the gel, and I've got a red gel underneath to give it a different look. And we're going to give a couple shots like that and try it and see what we come up with. And I'm going to adjust my exposure again back to, instead of f11, I'm going to go f13, because the gel is going to cut down just a little bit. We're going to see how that looks. Wonderful shot there. Let's try one more. Okay, that looks good. Let me turn the studio light back on so you can see what we've got here. And a couple of shots using the gel that gives it a totally different look, which can add a lot of creativity to your shots when you're doing product photography. Okay, we're back. I got another product that I'm using here, one of my Baitcaster spinning reels that everybody knows that I also love fishing other than photography. So I'm always trying to incorporate a little bit of that into my product photography, just to get some results and see how it looks with some of the products that I'm using with fishing, as well as, you know, in the studio itself. One of the things that I say is that before it hits the water, it has to hit the studio. So let's get a couple of shots with that. I've got a blue gel that I'm using now. Try a couple of shots with that and see how it looks. And I'm gonna move I want to move the product around just a little bit, just to get a different look from the item itself. So let me switch that around and we'll come right back, take a couple more shots. That's the other thing that I want to talk about also, is that when you're doing product photography, a lot of times you have to shoot it from different angles or move the product around, just so you get the look from different angles and making sure that you showcase the product itself. So I just turned the Baitcaster around and just get a different look at what we have. A couple of shots. So try that one more time. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to I'm going to turn off the background light for just a minute, just to turn off the blue reflection and see what we get with that. But here we go. A couple of shots. exposure to f8 manual. That looks gorgeous, just like that. We do one real tight. There we go. Okay, a couple of great shots that we got with the background light, the blue gel, and a couple of shots that we got without. Okay, I'm back and we're going to do one more layout. The other thing that I want to talk about is that, you know, when you're doing product photography, it allows you to be creative as much as you want to, adding different things into the layout itself, to get the different colors or the different perspectives and things that you want to make it look really good or make it stand out. So being creative is one of the greatest things about doing this kind of work. And as you can see, it doesn't take a whole lot of room, a whole lot of space to set everything up. But this is done in my inside my apartment, in my dining room area. I just set up a white backdrop just to put in the background, and just so I could focus on the table itself, especially with shooting the video portion of it. And the other thing is that anytime you're changing or adjusting the settings as far as the lights, you always want to do a reading with the light meter. So I know a lot of the newer photographers, especially now with the digital age, a lot of times they don't use light meters. They'll just shoot it in automatic, or shoot it, you know, letting the camera do all of the work. And then if it doesn't look right, they'll just go back and change the settings and just try another shot. But one of the things that I try to do is that when I'm shooting, I try to get it right the first time, so there's less that I have to do in post-production. The only thing that I may want to do is just add some little special effects to it maybe. So with this particular shot that we're doing now, again, I still have the red gel on in the background, but I have the light turned off. As far as the pocket wizard is not on, so it's not going to light it up. And I've got the still using the softbox. I'm gonna do a close-up shot, so this one should be pretty much a white background with this particular shot. See how that looks? Exposure looks just perfect, on point. Let's try one more, just a little bit tighter. Excellent, excellent. Love that shot, the way it looks. So the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna spice it up just a little bit. We're gonna turn the gel on and see how it looks with the red reflection in the background. Okay, we're back again for one more thing. What I've done this time is just adjust my settings on my lights. The backlight underneath the table is at full power, and the main light, I've adjusted that to 1/4 power. But what I'm doing is I'm exposing for the background. So the background reading is at f8. So we're going to take a shot with that. The foreground reading is at 4. And I'll show you the difference in how it looks with both shots. So we're going to do the first one at f8 with the background light, exposing for the background. It's great. One more shot like that, a tight shot. That's f8. Now what I'm going to do is change my camera setting to f4 to expose for the subject itself and see what we get. Show you the difference. We'll do one more. And there you have it. So you'll be able to see the difference between the exposure, and that's one of the things that I talk about a lot, is that you want to make sure you're exposing the product or the subject correctly. A lot of times when you're shooting outdoors, you have someone with their back against the sun and you're shooting on total automatic. A lot of times it's reading all that extra light from the sunlight, so you have to be careful with things like that. And the same thing in the studio, you know, you want to adjust your light, so you want to make sure that you expose either for the background or the foreground, depending on the look that you want. So with that being said, that'll end this particular segment of shooting in the studio with my new light table and some product photography. Just get a little zoom in on this. And we are done. Hope you liked the video. If you have any questions or comments, please let us know, and we'll talk to you again soon.